Hey there and welcome back to Corey Loses, where today we are once again continuing our Thrawn's Revenge Imperial Civil War 2.2 preview playthrough as the Imperial Remnant. In the last episode we made it to Era 2, and we also had our first emergent faction event for this Galactic Conquest, or our first major one. So there are two major ones for Empire's End. We have the one that just happened, which is the Hapes Consortium becoming active after a certain amount of time. So we're going to try to take over the Transitory Mists and Charuba, Hapes, and Terraphon today if we're able to. The next major emergent faction event that's going to happen is in Era 5 with the Duskin League. But for now we're going to focus on this. We're going to put a little bit of a halt on some of our other plans to get into Zinj's territory over here. We do have Ord Tracy, or the space over Ord Tracy controlled, so it would be nice to try to grab Ord Tracy whenever we can, then move back into Munilence, but for now, the main focus is going to be over here. So let's get this started and see how we do against the Haven fleet. They shouldn't be too much of a problem. I don't think they spawn with any ground units right now, so we'll just be able to go through the space battles here. And while their ships are pretty good for frigates, they are still just frigates, and they do have a fair amount of them, but we should be able to handle this. So Terror Squadron, you're going to get back here. Let's get the Merciless Devil up here a bit. I really wish I had set up a Pathfinder because this is going to be a little bit difficult. Sorry, last resort, but had to let you go there. Alright, so let's see if we can get our fighters in here. The Mytil bombers are actually really good. Basically, any heavy fighter with concussion missiles performs pretty well. So we'll do what we can to wipe out some of their fighter complements first. And I'm going to see if we can move this up here. Chain Heart. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to just have to get rid of this interdictor. And sorry, Hitman, but it looks like you're going to fall victim to this as well. But we'll get these guys up here. We'll keep the fighters going. You know what? We really need we need to get a Pathfinder unit in here. They're gonna go for the engines, aren't they? Come on. Okay, that was close. We really need the Pathfinder. There is important. Otherwise, we've just got two interdictors. We got the vendor at the front. That's not fantastic for us. I'm gonna have to rebuild some of those guys. Let's get Catamount back in here. So we'll get Catamount, City of Angels, Terminus, and Last Resort back. And then we'll get Hitman back, because they're the ones that just went down. So we need a Pathfinder. Let's try it this way. I'm not gonna have both Makati and Tackle in. We need to make sure we can try to get through some of this before the Greater Maldrude or Zinj gets to it as well, because this could be a huge boon to anyone who manages to actually take the territory and solidify their hold over a little bit. Because we are trying to focus on taking out Zinj before going down into our fight with the New Republic. If we do have an opportunity to sort of push the New Republic out of the core a bit, we'll try to take that as well. But it looks like that won't be an option for a little bit.
Receiving orders.
What I'd like to do is get behind them.
There they are. Blast them. This nebula will affect our targeting. Bombs away.
So we can get them to turn around. They're going to chase that. Let's get
reinforcements canceled.
We get Merciless Devil in there. We're going to put Makati a little bit behind that. And Ace of Hearts right there. Carrion Spear. Donager. Okay, Terror Squadron, you did your job. We got at least a few shots off on these guys. So let's try to focus on that. Let's get some strike cruisers in here. But this is going to be a pretty heavy cruiser battle. And I didn't want to use both Grand Admirals right now, but it seems like we might end up having to do that. 2.31 can come in here. Alright, Makati, you need to stop. Donagers going pretty deep in.
Batteries online. Launching attack. Enemies in range. Watch for enemy ships.
No, tender.
Switch position. I'm hit.
This is going to be another thing. We really need to just get our production of Lancers up. Okay, you guys focus on that one.
Our primary engine system is down. Unable to shake them. Awaiting your commands. Taking fire. The shields aren't holding. Engaging the enemy. Our launch bay is gone. I've got him. Blasted scum. Our engines are gone, sir.
Alright, we're making a good amount of progress on some of these guys.
We've got them on scope.
Keep focusing over there.
Commander.
Choose your reinforcements.
The launch bay is gone.
Get a Carrick in there.
Weapons ready.
We don't have enough fighters to really deal with any of that.
Formation. Reporting in. Attack commencing.
Yeah, we really need to bump up our Lancer production.
Are our target.
I'm gonna get like 4 planets to just build Lancers.
Choose your reinforcements.
Roger that. They've destroyed our ion cannon. Our primary target is those ion cannons. Yes, sir. The ion cannons are our primary target.
I couldn't afford to just leave the planets up because since the Hapes are currently not playable, the way it seems like the AI auto-resolves are actually calculated is if it's AI versus AI and one of them is not a playable faction, they get calculated as if like with no losses for the playable faction, even if no one's actually playing it. Basically, it seems like it's set up that way so that, for example, in the base game, if you're playing as the rebels and the Imperial AI is trying to invade the little like random pirate planets or hut planets, that way they're not less challenging when you get there, so they have like the full garrison already and everything. But what it does mean for TR, where the only difference is supposed to be that they're not playable and not that they're any necessarily weaker, it can be a bit of a problem because you end up with some pretty strong territory grabs, which ultimately won't be a huge issue because a lot of these factions will ultimately become playable, so it's nothing to really worry about as far as that goes. But just in the meantime, it is a little bit annoying.
Destroyer reporting in. Attacking target.
Are all their fighters? No. Are their fighters victory relevant? No. Perfect. Heavy losses. Okay, we definitely need to grab more Lancers, because that's going to be the case at every planet.
System conquered.
Alright.
Vehicle in production.
One.
Beginning construction.
That one.
Constructing.
2.
Constructing.
3.
Constructing
4.
unit.
Because we can't handle more like that. That's gonna be too costly every time.
Waiting your command.
Construction complete.
What we can try to do though,
Setting
move some of this over. Let's get
Construction complete.
that. We can also rebuild Terror Squadron at some point.
Vehicle in production.
Let's get you guys in here. It probably won't happen for this initial release, but ultimately the Hapens, like I said, they will eventually be playable. That won't be something that happens in the short term. but they'll have the ability to build up like infrastructure and everything, so they can become active on the galactic map. But unfortunately, for the meantime, that does mean the auto resolve thing is going to be a factor. But one of the things I've even been thinking about for that is that we can make them technically playable. You just can't actually play as them anywhere, which would solve that issue. It would just mean some people are sometimes confused about why they can't do it. Oh my god. What are we doing? What are we doing, Zinj? That's not even Iron Fist, he just has another Executor. We're gonna have to back off of this one. We'll focus on getting the Hapes Consortium planets. If we can, I guess, conquer them at a faster rate, then Zinj can invade us. Alright. I want to retreat from this, I think. Yeah.
Yes, Commander. Ready for battle.
Well, hold on. Yeah, we're not going to be focusing on this area in the first place. We're going to lose Turfanier just because he's not in an actual thing. But because we're not focusing on this area, it won't matter that much for the short term. I hope.
Building started. Construction complete.
Because if we can just get them to come in to our stuff, it's going to be better for us than if we would try to fight them everywhere on their terms. Alright, how are we looking here? We have 6 of those. We have a couple more extra ships. Build that up. Let's get
Constructing unit.
let's see if we can try to take the Cutric hegemony back as well. So if we can keep them sort of spread out this way and kind of block off their territory, then they'll have longer response times. They won't be able to reinforce each side. We can try to wear them down that way. But we'll focus on that after we get some of these extra Hapen things done. So what we also need to do, let's get back to camp. This one time at camp, let's get Harbinger
In production.
and Dome Totalis, because we need more ISDs. And while I'm trying to use some of these playthroughs as a barometer for difficulty, okay, they're actually all the way in at Hapes. That's not good. Who was that? His soldier has been killed at Hapes. Terraphon went to Zinj.
Heading out, sir. TIE Defender standing by.
So yeah, even though I'm trying to use this as a barometer for difficulty levels, right now, because I'm playing with all the patron ships and I'm not getting any of the discounts we'd be getting normally for some of the companies, it's not always the best indicator for how your economy is going to perform. So typically, it's going to be a little bit easier to manage the economy when you're playing the actual full release and you don't have to deal with like the full price ships all the time. That's one of the ways. So you've probably noticed that the average shipyard level has increased, and we were a bit more liberal with what we're defining as a shipyard. So basically anything that had any sort of significant shipbuilding capability, we've given access to a level 3 shipyard. Whereas in the past it was a lot more strict. And we're also, what we'd want to do for, if not this release, probably the next release, or once we have a chance to redo all the shipyard art, which is another thing we want to do, is add in a level 4 shipyard, which is what you'd use to build things like the Executor or the Bellator. Okay, let's sneak Merciless Devil in on the side here. Get some
Heading to destination.
damage in on it that way.
Moving out. En route. Ahead full.
Reinforcements Sequence cancelled.
Alright, they've got some fighters coming in now. And BSG can go in on that side. Catamount can go in with it. Let's get Last Resort on this side too.
Shields on holding.
It sucks that Makati sort of took the brunt of that, but should be able to make it through this alright. Get more of these Lancers in on the side here. Where'd those ones go? Did they die?
Awaiting your orders. Awaiting your command. Your command.
Alright.
Re-engine system is down.
It would have been better if we'd been able to hold off a little bit and build some more stuff, but they were already at the next planet over at Hapes, so if we want to get these planets, we'll have to act pretty fast.
Our primary target is those iron cannons. I've got him. They're hitting us. I've got him. Where'd he go? Where are the others? Losing power. Stay in formation.
Alright. Makati's in a little bit of danger.
Falling out of formation. Withdraw their fire.
Let's try to focus on the Mytel bombers. A lot of the battle dragons are going down. Catamount shields are down, but the BSG shields are still up.
The lasers are our target.
Done a good amount of damage to their most of their frigates.
Engaging enemy fighters.
Alright, actually don't go up too far.
Our engines are out. Take out the iron cannons.
Choose your reinforcements.
Okay, tackle, you're probably safe to come in, maybe?
We're moving out. Laser cannons disabled.
Alright.
Our primary target is the
Only got a couple frigates left. Some of them are a little bit farther away. You're gonna have to come out this way, just to make sure this one doesn't sneak by with one hard point. Swap over to this one, get it before the shields go on, the Nova. There was a new Nova being made. Robin was working on it. He's the one that did the new Battle Dragon here, as well as like the escort frigate and the Bellator. But he wasn't quite able to finish it, so that is still on the slate to get redone, but it'll probably take a little bit longer. The next 2.3 was originally just going to be focusing on the Hapens, but we've decided to go a slightly different direction, where we're still going to be working on Hapen stuff in the background, but there's some other stuff that we feel we can probably get done a little bit faster, so we can have a more like we can have the Hapen release coming out within a month of when it probably would have anyways, but still get another release in before that, where we can try to tackle any major issues that arise from the release of 2.2, because it's a big release, so there's going to be problems. There's just going to be stuff that we need to address, and there's some stuff that we had to cut from 2.2 that we think we should be able to add in that release as well. So we should have a news post going up relatively soon about that too. I would have liked to do it maybe even sometime this week, because we're about 3 or 4 weeks out from the planned release date of 2.2. So we're doing our best to make sure we meet that. Bob from Phoenix Rising has also come on to help in I guess a consulting role, he calls it. He's been working on updating some of the AI stuff a little bit for removing some of the equations that are no longer relevant in Thrawn's Revenge.
Heading out.
Like some of the AI plans that otherwise would just be sort of languishing there in perpetual not being doneness, which is, I believe, the correct way to phrase that. Let's get some Lancers in for Thrawn as well. I don't want to jump in like straight there, just in case they manage to get there faster somehow. But yeah, I don't think there's any ground units here. there was the Monday night modding stream last week or last night. So if anyone who's not familiar with that, not necessarily every Monday, but most Mondays I try to do like an hour and a half or 2 hour stream on Twitch. There's a link to the Twitch channel in the description, where I'm just working on the mod, and there'll be sometimes other modders or Thrawn Revenge team members, and we'll talk about stuff. And one of the questions that came up in the chat last night was about whether you could watch the AI play against each other. So I sort of showed how to do that, and we just watched the AI fight it out for a bit, and then we were discussing like I don't even need to do the Let's Plays anymore. I can just like set the AI, let them play against each other, and I'll just like shoutcast a playthrough, which it might actually be a fun thing to do, just for not during one of the mainline playthroughs or something, but maybe for a stream. I'll set it up and we'll just watch what happens when the AI is playing against the AI at some point after release or something. Because I think that could be just a fun little one-off type thing to do. And I'm also thinking it's probably going to be what I do for like the lore battles whenever we use EAW for them. Like there's going to be one this Friday. A couple weeks ago I did the Eclipse versus 400 Lancers video, and that's going to be a more regular thing. We did the voice actor thing last week, so we didn't have one, but that is going to be a regular thing, and it seems like that's the best way to handle that. But back to what we were doing here. We have Revenge of the Empire coming on this side again. There's Galactic Fried Chicken, as usual, and Zenith of Tyranny. So Thrawn giving a strong bonus to all of our ships. We can get its Treason then on this side, and Stout-Hearted. No, if I ever actually drop it in a place where there's not fire. Alright. So if we just sort of creep in on this side, I believe they had another ISD, did they not? Yeah, there it is. For some reason I was thinking this one and this one were the same one whenever I'd scroll, which clearly is not the case. We got that down, we got these guys down, and let's keep on moving in. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to use any of the AI changes for this playthrough. We finally hit the point where a lot of the regular changes have made it so it's not save file compatible anymore. And it honestly lasted a lot longer than I thought, where we were still able to do that, which is unfortunate, but it's still... I'm going to, at some point today, I'm going to try to break off the build and figure out which files I can keep moving over. I think it's probably just from the AI changes, so the other stuff we can continue to put in, I'll just transfer the files in. I already do it for the beta anyways. So I basically have like 3 copies of Thrawn's Revenge on my computer right now, just for 2.2, plus like 6 or 7 old builds. Bam. Bam. Okay, not so much bam. It's taking a bit longer to destroy the gladiators than I yeah. Bam. There we go. Bam. 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 Right, we realistically don't need to go for that goal in. It's now that we've broken in through this side, it's not really blocking our progress too much. We can just go in for the station, and then it'll be all good. Looks like we're going to be getting it anyways.
Your command, sir. Attack. Go after them.
All right.
Go after the stragglers.
One of the other things I want to do is I want to move this up to 5 days a week instead of 4, since we're really only doing the one EAW playthrough right now.
Open fire.
We are victorious.
All right,
Roger
there's that. Oh, Peregrine's Nest in Donager. We hardly knew ye. Okay, so we have Dathomir. So let's keep building up the infrastructure there. Charuba is a very valuable planet, so let's get that in. We'll get let's get some of these guys going through. I'm gonna try to get over to. Oh, what's this? Did they just take a? They just took Hapes, so they likely don't have the other transitory miss over here.
Construction complete.
That's gonna draw some attention too. Well, we're not gonna need to go any further with this.
Construction complete.
So hopefully Zinj doesn't pop up in this territory right now, but we can move them over. Let's get Saboth. Sabioth. Grab that.
Tactical battle imminent.
Alright, so this is still Hapen territory. They managed to take, I think it's what? 1 transitory mist, Hapes and Terraphon. So we got 2 transitory mists in Charuba. Alright. So let's I kind of want to soak up the damage with the Praetors before we send in the Grand Admirals and anyone. Because we don't have as many Lancers as we did before. Oof. You want to jump in at the top or at the bottom? I'd rather jump in at the bottom, give up the...
Reinforcements cancelled.
Give up that 1 Lancer for the damage bonus. We'll drop these guys in behind them. Try to take out as many fighters as we can on the upside, or on the start here. We'll jump in some of these ones a little bit on this way. Did we actually not lose the Lancer? We didn't.
Our primary target is those ion cannons.
All right. So if we can just get these to focus on the same battle dragon. I think I want to reduce the amount of fighters that the battle dragons spawn at once. So it's the same amount overall, but their upfront spawns are a bit lower. Let's get tackle until we get the combat bonus now. We've been using Makati as our primary one for most of this. So you can try to slide in on this way. I'm not sure if that was Terminus or City of Angels we just lost. Or a regular strike cruiser.
Our primary target is those ion cannons.
There you go. Because I do want to bump up the power potentially of the battle dragons themselves a little bit and make them less fighter reliant. Because they're not even supposed to be like the main carriers of the Hapens, and it's with the amount of fighters they already have just from that. If it's for a ship that size, having 1, maybe 2 fighters on the field at any given time instead of having all 3 probably works a little bit better.
The lasers are our target.
Alright, it looks like we're probably safe to drop in Makati over here. We can get Shane Har over here. Angry Parents, and even Petrificus will tell us, because they have some laser cannons as well. So even if we're not actually stopping things from leaving with our interdictors, you guys move up.
Awaiting your command.
You're taking a lot of damage, but we're pretty much engulfing all the ships here. So I don't think
Your command, sir.
they're going to be able to take anything out fast enough for us to lose
Take out the ion cannons.
lose any of our heroes at least.
Commander, unable to shake them. The lasers are our target.
There's that. Let's get this, that. Okay, a lot of the battle dragons are just starting to fall apart now.
Main shields deactivated. Reporting in. The gravity well generated has been
Victorious.
There we go. So we lost a couple ships there, but not either of our Praetors or Makati or Tackle. We lost City of Angels, 5 Lancers, and Last Resort. Not too bad.
System conquered.
Let's get that in. Let's get Obersky built back up there. Let's get...
Construction complete.
do we want a heavy factory on here? Just so
Construction.
we have more ground production nearby. Ooh, an SSD.
Construction complete.
Star Destroyer reporting in.
Ooh, an SSD. These shouldn't... So, one of the things that Bob has been doing is removing any of the free spawn references. So, stuff like more SSDs than they should be able to build, they won't be able to build. But we will get out of here for now. So, they'll be limited, just as anyone else is, to stuff that they should have more properly. Alright. We will have to leave pretty much immediately here. This is not a battle we wanna take. Once we finally do fight this fleet, it's gonna be a pretty costly one for both sides, I think.
Tactical battle imminent.
Yep, I knew this would happen when I sent them in. Alright, so we can probably send in the fleet on the other side to Ord Tracy and Munilinst again. Probably Munilinst at least. Because it looks like we're not going to get any further with the Hapen space for now. That's already conquered by Zinj. So anything we do there is just a fight against Zinj still. So we just gotta prioritize it the same way we would anything else against Zinj. And I do think going west to east is the way we're gonna have to do it from now on. So what do we lose there? Time Mauler. Oh well. Like I still want to keep them kind of spread out, but there's only so much we can do in that department. So let's get these guys in. Let's get you guys up more. In the maid build, the Lucrehulk fighter spawn scripts have been attached. It came up in the Discord as well that the obviously the last fight was fairly easy, and someone was concerned about SSDs still being too powerful because the Executor killed all those Lucrehulks. But the main strength of the Lucrehulks is in their fighters, and because the Lucrehulks aren't spawning fighters right now, in this build, they're not as threatening as they would typically be or are supposed to be.
They're in this direction.
Choose your
All right.
reinforcements. Reinforcements cancelled.
Are we able to get you in?
At once. Superstar Destroyer ready.
So we can drop in this on the other side of there as well? Yes. Are you guys gonna start? Are we close enough for them to want to come up and respond to this? Probably not. One of the things we're trying to do is remove this behavior entirely. Right now, we've got it so that if you were within a certain distance, they'll still come out and respond, which is still far better than what the base behavior was for that. But ultimately, we want to make them pretty much ignore the station as like a combat bonus and make them sort of want to fly out to an area nearby but still away from their defensive platform, so that even though right now they'll like sort of go and respond to other threats around them, their default thing is like, okay, threat's gone, let's head back to the station, which means they're generally facing away from you. But if we can just make it so that they want to go a little bit away from it, then they're facing the right direction and they're still responding, and that's ultimately the best way, I think, to have that function. Let's see if we can actually get into this at all. Probably not, just because it's so tight in there. But we can start moving some of these guys out. Okay, they're actually being drawn out.
Destroyer here.
Superstar Destroyer ready.
Will you turn all the way around?
Copy. The lasers are our target.
They're coming in quick. More enemy craft.
Come on over.
Open fire.
Losing power.
Commander, they're hitting us.
I copy.
Where'd
All
he go?
sections at your
Pursuing
command, my
enemy
lord.
forces. Taking him
Report.
out. Happening in my sights. Let's finish him. Watch your back. Eliminating Engaging the enemy. Intercepting. Target locked.
Alright, it's swinging by a little bit.
Instructions
Star
received.
Destroyer standing by.
Choose your reinforcements.
May as well drop in a little bit of extra help for us here.
Run.
As long as it's not absorbing any of the damage.
Crews, make ready.
Our target.
Alright,
priority.
you guys want to head in there too.
Star Destroyer reporting in.
And these ones can focus on the the Lucre Hulk.
Attack that target.
Attacking target.
Awaiting orders.
Come on, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to send you a little bit closer, and we're also going to put you on power to weapons.
Fire for maximum effect.
Alright, Inevitable is starting to get into range a bit. So close. Once it's actually here, it'll be fine. It's a bit of a tricky map for an Executor. Just because you have that whole thing cordoned off.
The lasers are our target.
I wonder if it would be advantageous to just make them kind of like Corvettes and not care about asteroids. Just have Empire Strikes Back going on. Because I think you can do that. I'm not sure if it's just a function of like a secondary effect of being a Corvette. Or if it's something you could actually set per ship. Because that would be... I think that would probably work out fine too.
Direct fire on the engines.
Falling out. All sections at your command, my lord.
Draw their fire. I'm on this one. Locking on. Under control. Watch him.
Okay, so that's most of the Star Destroyers down. There's one Allegiance still back here. I'm gonna see if I can maneuver you into the main base still.
Awaiting your command.
Get you back there a little bit.
All sections at your command, my lord. All head forward.
Yeah, it looks like you're gonna be able to get in there.
Get behind them.
Took some maneuvering around, but you got it.
All batteries commence firing. Fire at will.
Your command, sir. Coming around.
We do have a couple Allegiance patrons who we gotta get in, but that'll probably be... I think that's Era 3 that they were made available.
All sections at your command, my lord.
So we'll have to get to there first.
Destroyer ready.
For anyone who does want to have a patronship, there's information on that in the description as well.
Engaging the enemy.
Again, that is just something that's in for the playthroughs. It's not something that's in the actual release.
All sections at your command,
But
my lord.
Event Horizon is going to go down, and we can take out the station as well.
Super Star Destroyer ready.
We're not really at risk of losing this the silencer, right? No.
All
Okay.
batteries commence firing. Fire at will. Engaging the enemy.
You should be within range to start actually shooting at that, no?
All batteries
Apparently not.
commence firing. Fire at will.
You just really didn't want to not shoot the Event Horizon there, I guess? Oh, okay. Alright. Well, we made a little bit of progress today. We did get fought off of Ordrassi the first time and then Kutrick, but I think we should be able to go back in and take the ground at Ordrassi and probably Kutrick as well in the next episode. We'll try to reestablish some control of this area, keep completing some of our ships and stuff here. But that is going to do it for this episode, so thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you're enjoying the playthrough so far, and I will see you next time.